right, guys, today we have nothing new. All Chanel, full face of Chanel, discontinued items, except for the foundation that I have on. Foundation is the Chanel Le Beiges. This is the Touch Foundation. As you can see, I've used up, like 80% of it. This is my favorite foundation. I just think it's perfect for my use. It's got enough coverage, but not too much. It's great for drier skin, great for more mature skin. The only thing that I would say is it goes pretty quickly. Like, I've gone through quite a bit of it. But other than that, it's an absolutely great product. So yes, all discontinued items today from Chanel. And I'll go through each one of them and tell you what each one is. But the one that we're going to really focus on is a eyeshadow quad that I think, and I'm not absolutely sure, I think this is 15 years old. This is the Bleu Celestes. It's number 92. If anyone out there knows exactly when this came out, I would love to know. It's 0.24 ounces and still works well, still smells great. Still has that Chanel perfume that it used to have back in the day. Doesn't really have that scent anymore. But as you can also see, it's the square pans, not the round pans. So it's really interesting. But anyway, we're gonna do that one today. And then the blush is going to be a shade called Orchid Rose, which again, doesn't exist. And this one is in, of course, the old formula. The highlighter is something called Pearl, and I'm gonna get the French wrong, but basically it's Perles Et Fantaisies. It's the pink and white, and I'll let the camera like kind of adjust to this one. This has a similar look to the Fantasia blush that came out recently, but it's a whiter highlighter. It's not a blush, and you'll see that when I put it on the face. The bronzer I'm going to use is really not a bronzer. Le Beiges in Sunset. This is an illuminating powder. This is what I used as Chanel bronzer before the bronzer was actually introduced about a year ago. So I always used this, which, you know, actually works really, really well for me. The eyeliner I'm going to use is a shade called Bleu Carbone. This did come out relatively recently. I think it was a year ago, but it is discontinued because it was limited edition, so it no longer exists. And the lipstick is a shade, it's called Fabulous. It's a Rouge Allure. It's number 33, and it looks like this. And it is a fabulous color. I love this one. All right, so let's go ahead and dig in. On my brows is the Chanel Stylo Waterproof. This is Defining Longwear Eyebrow Pencil in Auburn. I don't love this shade, and the formula is not my favorite, but I did want to use all Chanel today, so I was like, okay, I'll use it. But yeah, it's not my favorite brow product. I'm actually thinking about trying the Ilio one. My sister was talking about it, so I might be picking that up. So I'm going to show you the Sunset on my face. And for those of you who have not watched my channel before or don't watch often, hi, by the way, my name is Jennifer, and I was a Chanel makeup artist a very long time ago. Now it's been, wow, let's see, almost 25 years ago, not quite that long, but for a long time ago. But I always loved makeup. I always loved fashion. And when I was a little kid, I used to go into my mom's makeup and basically like take whatever she had, and there wasn't a lot, trust me. My mother was never somebody who was big into makeup. So I'm not exactly sure where I developed it from, but I would take whatever she had and, you know, play around with it. And my poor sister had to deal with me putting it all over her as well. So some of my earliest practice was on her. I'm sure she's thrilled. But so yes, I've always loved makeup, and I loved Chanel from, you know, early on. I like the aesthetic. And I think that Chanel over the years, the makeup has, I don't want to say it's not as good as it was, because some of the products are, but you know, they've changed their blushes, they recently changed their eyeshadows, they changed their lipsticks, they changed lip liners. So these are all, you know, old school products that I've come to count on, and I think they're excellent. It's not to say that some of the new Chanel products aren't good as well, but I feel like overall back in the day, and many of these are, you know, like the eyeshadow is at least 10 years old. I think it's 15. They were consistently excellent and had good pigment and really lasted. Today, I think it's a little more hit or miss. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and use the highlighter. They also had like really cool packaging and really cool, I mean like embossing and stuff a lot of the time. That is going to be coming back this holiday. Just keep that in mind. There are some blurry pictures of Chanel Holiday on Patreon, on my Patreon page. And I do want to say thank you to everyone who is supporting me on Patreon. It really does help support the channel. It just, I take all of the proceeds that come from Patreon and put it back into the channel, purchasing, you know, makeup. Also over there, if there are questions that you specifically have about like what kind of makeup you should be wearing or like color choices or all that, or there are certain swatches and stuff that you want to see, I can do that for you over there. I also put sneak peeks and like previews over there, especially for brands like Chanel and Tom Ford, which are over there right now. Tom Ford's over there as well, because if you put it up here on Instagram, I mean here on YouTube or Instagram, they can take your channel down. So before it's actually released, it's all over there. And there'll be holiday stuff coming, hopefully, pretty soon. So that's what that highlighter looked like. I think you can see it's a beautiful highlighter, but it's relatively subtle. It looks great on the skin. It doesn't emphasize texture at all. It's a beautiful pinky white highlight, but it's not sparkly. Like Chanel is not known for anything like sparkly. Orchid Rose. And this Orchid Rose is a beautiful shade. It's also very pigmented. You have to be not careful, but the old Chanels, you know, the old blushes were, you know, very pigmented. It also has a beautiful perfume to it. Now, those of you who have been watching lately know that I've been suffering from migraines, and we're still trying to figure all that out. Today I don't have a migraine, so I'm taking advantage of it. This perfume, this smell in here, the scent, does not bother me. It does not give me a headache. I can't tell you why, but it doesn't. Those of you who were around in the day or have old Chanel makeup know what I'm talking about. There's a perfume that the blushes had that, you know, even if you've had the blush for 10 to 15 years, and some blushes I have that are even older, it still smells like that. I don't know how they did that, but it's just, it's amazing. And they, you know, they smell great, they still work great. And this one's one of my favorite shades. It's just a beautiful, beautiful color. All right, so I'm gonna put the lipstick on before I put on the eyeshadow, because I think the eyeshadow is gonna kind of be the star of the show. Again, this is Fabulous, number 33. Fabulous has a little bit of shimmer, a little bit of gold, I'd say, shimmer to it. Peachy pink. It's a beautiful shade. And yeah, I absolutely love it. I have to say, like, many of the shades that I've found over the years that I like the most have been discontinued. When I was working for Chanel, the biggest shade at the time was Metal Garnet. And they discontinued it while I was working there, and I had so many people yell at me while I was working there, and I tried to explain to them that it wasn't up to me to decide, you know, if they were discontinuing something, and I didn't know ahead of time, but of course, you know, I get it. Everyone was very upset. So let me swatch this on my back of my hand really quickly, and then we'll do the eye look. So as you can see, and I really didn't do like multiple swatches or like multiple building of this. This is the quad, and it's very pigmented. The shades are deep, and they'll work on multiple people. This is a pink, and this is a light blue. These two shades do look very similar in swatch. On your eyes, you do get a difference because one is the pink undertone and one is the blue undertone, but you know, they're not that different, I will admit. But this shade is a beautiful blue-gray. It looks very much like the Carbone liner, which is why when this came out, this was the first quad I thought of. I was like, oh, that's gonna be great. You can see it's a very similar shade. And this light blue is like a grayish blue, like a Wedgwood blue, kind of. And, you know, one of my favorites. Blue was much more popular eyeshadow back in the day, but it's becoming popular now again. So I'm going to have a fall trends video coming up very soon. I'm going to talk about top 5. And then I'm going to have more like fashion stuff coming up because I love fashion, but I love especially like the fall fashions and holiday. But I will tell you, like, what's popular right now is like 90s Y2K stuff. Not exactly sure why, but it's come back. And so blue eyeshadow is part of that, interestingly enough. Thin eyebrows, and a whole bunch of other things. So definitely tune in for that fashion video because I'm going to have beauty tied into it as well. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the grayish blue shade and use that kind of like a transition shade. And I'm not gonna really do a tutorial here today, guys. I'm just gonna do a look with it. But I wanted to, I feel like with everything going on, we don't necessarily have to always talk about, what's new and purchasing new products. I think a lot of us, well, I'll just speak for myself, already have a lot of really great makeup and beauty that maybe we're not reaching for because, we're attracted to the new shiny thing, which is great. I mean, nothing wrong with that. But a lot of times the stuff that we have is either very similar to the new things that are coming out, or sometimes, like some of these Chanel's, even better. So I want to pull out, more of some of the things that I already have in my collection and talk about them. So if there are things that you'd be interested in seeing, like I have all of the Chanel blurry quads, I could do a video with all of them. I'll look for each one if that's something that you'd like to see, or the Tissays, or the tweed blushes from Chanel, Dior, all those things. Certainly let me know what you'd be interested in seeing, but I am going to be pulling more of that stuff out because I feel like, there's so much coming fast and furious, and the economy is, let's face it, not going well for so many people that I don't want it to all just be new stuff. All right, let's take the light blue shade and use that on like the inner corner of the eye. Not like inner corner, but like just right in here. Yeah, to lighten up that, like the first third of the eye. And you'll see when I put it on, like how it's different than the pink shade that's in here, because I'm gonna put that on the eyelid. See how pretty that is? It's like I said, and very pigmented. These shades are definitely not something you have to worry about like building or anything like that. So we're gonna take the pink shade and put that on the lid. The little sponges that were in here, those did fall apart, interestingly enough. The shadows are fine. The little pink sponges disintegrated over time. Okay, so that's the look so far. You can see it's a very light blue until you add, the deeper blue in. And the shade underneath, that grayish shade, it definitely has that like Wedgwood blue kind of shade. All right, so now I'm gonna take the deep shade. This shade is incredibly pigmented, so you wanna be careful. Like they're all pigmented, but the shade is so deep that depending on how deep you wanna make the look, you can see already. If you wanna keep the look light, you're gonna wanna keep this shade to a minimum. If you have this quad, or even if you have a quad like it, like the new Tom Ford, or the Clé de Peau, or which, by the way, I'm pretty sure I'm going to pick up the blue one because I really am liking the Clé de Peau formula. I think Benjamin did a great job designing those, so I find myself like reaching for them. So as you can see, I'm just trying to blend this into that crease. You see how deep that is? Like how quickly that deepens the look. This is, one of the things, like when I was working, for Chanel, one of the reasons I chose Chanel, first of all, this was a long time ago, so there weren't all the brands that there are today, but I really believed in the products and I used them myself. Like I absolutely loved all the Chanel shadows and nail polishes, and I remember, going to law school wearing my Vamp nail polish, which was like very popular at the time. And of course, most of the people in the class were not really into makeup and kept asking why my nails were painted black, but that was okay. Okay, so that is the overall look, and I'm gonna put the liner on it, but you can see like how beautiful that is, how seamless it went on. There's no patchiness. The shades are pigmented. It's just, and like I said, this eyeshadow is, I think this one's 15 years old. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, let me put the liner on and then I'll put on mascara. And then we'll talk a little bit about Chanel and what's, I'm going to give you a couple hints about what's coming up for holiday. And we're back. I have the liner on and Chanel mascara. I like the Chanel mascara. It used to be one of my favorites over the years. I've used it off and on, but now I have mascaras that I like more, like the Chantecaille, Jones Road. There's a couple, but Chantecaille is always like a good, a good solid mascara, and I do like it. So, it's funny, like when I put on like old Chanel, I always love the look. I'm always happy with the look that I achieve. Part of it is probably familiarity. These are many of the products that I used back in the day when I was, doing makeup. So there's probably some of that, but I think the products all work really well. I think they're just, well made. They have good ingredients. They work well on my skin. Of course, I picked out shades that work well on me. Yeah, I'm always happy with the pulled together look. So let me know what other like old, discontinued, whatever products you'd like me to pull out, or comparisons. I'm going to try to do a video where I compare like different brands and what their aesthetic is, like Chanel versus Gucci versus Tom Ford, that kind of thing. And the Chanel holiday that is coming. Like I said, there are blurry pictures over on Patreon. What I will say is there is going to be a highlighter that looks similar to the one I used today, but it's not going to be the same design. It's going to be more of like, looks like sequins. And then the eyeshadow is going to be a different type of palette. So it's not going to be the well, they're now circles. They're not going to be the 4 circles. It is going to be all limited edition. So I think those are ones that if you're looking for something a little bit different, maybe almost like throwbacks to Chanel, those might be ones that you want to budget for. I'm definitely going to pick them up, and I probably will get more than one and maybe even try to do a giveaway during the holidays, because this is going to be part of their holiday collection. I don't know what else is coming, but I know those things are coming. So I'm pretty excited about that. Hopefully Chanel is working towards like doing more types of unique things like they did with their Byzance quads. I like all of them. Some of them I love, and doing a little bit more, I don't know, creative, like unique things like they used to do. So that's one of the reasons I decided to pull out all of this today. So thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you in another video really soon.